have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Enough is enough! I have had it with these monkey-fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane! Everybody strap in!
A Delta flight from Amsterdam to Detroit forced to turn back after maggots fell from the overhead cabin onto passengers below.
What?
Yes. Why were there maggots on a Delta flight from Amsterdam to Detroit? Because one of the people on board had boarded with rotting fish alongside their other carry-on luggage.
What?
Yes.
So gross.
The staff identified the owner of the offending suitcase and detained them on the plane after the rest of the travelers left the aircraft. According to Delta Air policy, carrying food as a carry-on is not considered dangerous and is allowed on board if packaged properly. Clearly, this was not packaged properly.
How did that thing,
What?
How did that thing get through security? I mean, wasn't it horribly smelly? You would imagine if there's rotting fish to the points that there's maggots in the fish and they're exploding out of the suitcase and dropping down on passengers, how they got that thing through security, I don't understand.
Well, it is odd. I mean, I don't know what I do think happened is they're looking for weapons, not looking for rotting fish.
Oh, maybe that's true.
I mean,
I blame you.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe it's...
I blame you.
All right, I get it. Flight attendants and passengers stepping in to break up a mid-flight fight.
This is crazy.
This is on a plane that took off from Oakland. Southwest Airlines saying that 2 customers became disruptive on board a flight from Oakland to Kauai. How could anybody be in a bad mood when you're on your way to Hawaii?
This is the beginning of the vacation. Come on, people.
It's unclear how the disagreement started, but look at them. And that poor flight attendant trying to stand between them. My gosh. I mean, it's not...
Joe Box and Little Anthony.
Yeah, Joe Box and Little Anthony getting into it right there on the flight.
There's punches thrown there.
Pretty brutal. What happened at the end of that? The plane's crew, other passengers got in between the two. The plane did not make an emergency landing. I mean, it's hard to make an emergency landing when you're flying from Oakland to, where are you going to make your emergency landing? Well, that's not the worst of it, Kim. A man dies mid-flight after breaking out in cold sweat and losing liters of blood.
What?
63 years old. He died on a Lufthansa flight. Witnesses say the outlet, witnesses told media that the man had blood gushing from his nose and mouth.
Oh,
wow.
God. What is that?
What?
Ebola?
Yeah.
What kind of infectious disease is that? Let me off that plane, too.
That
please.
is not a good thing.
That's not fake. That's real.
Boy, you hope it is fake, but if it's real, not much you can do. He lost liters of blood.
Oh, no.
It terrified passengers around him. The unidentified man boarded a Lufthansa flight from Bangkok, Thailand, to Munich, Germany, with his wife. And witnesses say that they sat in a row diagonally behind a group of other people, and I guess he had cold sweats. He was breathing much too quickly, according to the people who were seated there, sort of diagonally close enough to monitor what was going on. His breathing and appearance looked off, but they ascribed it to him being late for the flight and just wanting to catch the flight. That's why he was breathing heavily, and that's why he was a little sort of ashen. They called for a doctor over the loudspeaker, and a 30-year-old man from Portland tried to respond. They gave him a little chamomile tea.
That's
I'm no doctor.
That's an odd choice.
But when you're saying...
It's the cure for everything.
When you're telling
Would you
me
like
that
some tea, sir?
he's bleeding from his nose and mouth...
I see you're bleeding from the eye sockets, but would you like some chamomile?
He is...
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
I don't think... It is a wild idea. I don't think it is going to be effective. Sadly, he passed away. The flight is delayed in, it's a British Airways flight headed from Milan to London. There were cushions, they say, that were too thick. Yeah, the
What?
plane was the plane. Sir, this is why this segment is so wild. The stuff that's going on.
I'm sorry. Your flight is not supposed to be this comfortable.
The plane was delayed because some of the seat cushions were too thick. Yeah. It was an Italian aviation official who found that this nearly 5-year-old plane had the wrong size of seat cushion on board. The thicker cushions were in seats in the exit rows and are supposed to be thinner, you see, to allow passengers more access in the event of an emergency evacuation.
Sure.
Took them more than an hour to correct the thickness of those seat cushions. American Airlines hard landing on Maui was so hard, it sent 6 people to the hospital.
What?
Wow.
Flight 271 arriving around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the Airbus 320 with 167 passengers on board, 7 crew, touched down with such intensity that 6 people were sent to the hospital.
Dang, if I'm one of the
Meanwhile-
167, I would have also felt not good after that.
Yeah, it can be pretty
Yeah.
rough. As it is, those landings can be tough. A small plane made an emergency landing on a Virginia highway. This just
That's always
happened days
exciting when that
ago. Its
happens.
crew
Yeah.
and passengers weren't injured. This is it's a small plane, but it's a commercial plane. Southern Airways express flight took off from Dallas International Airport right before making a hard landing on the Loudoun County Parkway. All 7 people on board, the pilot, co-pilot, 4 adults, and a 15-year-old boy walked away from the flight uninjured. The pilot was able to safely land the plane in the roadway without striking any vehicles. I mean, I would say that's a high degree of difficulty move. But what are you going to do? You got to put the thing down somewhere.
We once set the KGO jet copter down on the side of Highway 37 because I couldn't figure out how to work the seatbelt in the back seat. Who's the bonehead in the back who can't put her seatbelt on?
Wow.
Yeah.
Kim, how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gambia's soccer team was flying to the Africa Cup when a serious incident on board the plane forced them back with 9 minutes from takeoff. They were just 9 minutes into the flight. They experienced a sudden lack of anyone? If you guessed oxygen, give yourself points.
Oh.
Yeah.
What happened?
I think that's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a key element for the flight.
Several players passed out.
Jeez.
The flight had just left the airport in Gambia's capital, was forced to return to make an emergency landing as oxygen supplies on board were dangerously low. As soon as we entered the small plane that was hired to fly us, said one of the players, we noticed the immense heat that left us dripping in sweat. The quote goes on, the inhumane heat mixed with the occurring lack of oxygen left many people with strong headaches and extreme dizziness. Furthermore, people started falling deeply asleep minutes after entering the aircraft.
That's not good.
Yeah. The 28-year-old player said that he was grateful for averting a potential tragedy, but slammed his country for what he called an unacceptable situation. He says that essentially the country has a responsibility to put them on flights that are handled by competent staff. The chartered flight carrying the Scorpions to the African Cup, this is from the Gambian Football Federation, has returned due to technical problems. The flight was 9 minutes airborne when the crew realized and immediately requested to return. They're investigating the cause of the lack of oxygen in the cabin. And yeah.
I also have a bonus story. I'm not sure if you covered it. Did you cover the Florida crash from a couple of days ago? I think it was trending on social media, but I have it here. It's just insane
let's see it.
footage. Yeah, no, it's very crazy.
So this is a plane that flies right over the freeway. Wow. Oh, my God.
Oh, Lord.
This is crazy.
It
You've
just
got to, if you're
smashed
just
right under the
listening to
shoulder.
the show, you've got to check out
Astonishing new dash cam
the
video, has
video
emerged
on
showing that
YouTube.
deadly
Yeah, let's
plane
lose the
crash Friday
audio,
on the
though.
Florida
Yeah.
highway. So the plane, it comes out of the left upper corner of the screen. It flies over several lanes of traffic, and it tries to make an emergency landing in the far right lane, but it crashes into a vehicle, killing 2 of the 5 people on board. Officials say the pilot had radioed that he lost both engines and was trying to make it to the nearest airport. The NTSB is leading the crash investigation.
Wow. That is brutal. Losing both engines? God, what the hell is going on? Where's that drop?
What the hell is going on in the United States of America?
Thank you, Ron. That story's from the sky for today.
This has been Stories from the Sky. The captain has turned off the seatbelt sign, and you are now free to move about the cabin.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.